Lieutenant Walls. Ooh, ooh. And this is going to be one of my several videos I create to discuss the process in making it to officer training school, making it through officer training school, creating your package to meeting the board, and how I prepared for my questions and answer session. This particular video is going to go over meeting a board. The same practical applications that I will discuss like in preparation can also be applied to meeting an interview, and that interview could be for a job or even for graduate school. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this topic. I met 2 commissioning boards. I met one board in person and I met my second board virtually via Zoom. I was selected by both boards. Praise God. You'll probably hear me say that in every single video because that's, I won't say unheard of, but I hadn't met anyone who was presented with an opportunity to meet 2 boards, be afforded a congratulatory letter to commission. The board that I met in person, that was through a previous exec on his team, and he knew my goals to commission. He learned of their board that was coming and sent me the information that I met on 3 October 2021, and it was an in-person board. I was not assigned to the base. That board consisted of a colonel, he sat in the middle, 5 to 7 other members. So to include him, there were 6 to 8 members. Each member asked me one question, and then on 2nd of September 2021, that was a virtual board. That opportunity came by way of a chief master sergeant. I had been gained to his team and he sat me down so we can get a one-on-one, and I shared with him I wanted to commission. I walked out of his office, he sent me an email, hey, here's an opportunity. Just say this to any leader that may be watching: never stunt the growth of your member, never stunt the growth of your subordinate. Again, I say I was brought onto their team for a full-time opportunity as an active guard reserve member, yet he knew my aspirations to commission and shared that information with me with the understanding, hey, we just gained this person and we may lose her if she's selected, but this is a part of her career path. And so in that board, I applied. I was afforded an opportunity to meet with them virtually on Zoom. In that board, there were 3 officers, and then there was also the facility. Those are the 2 boards I met. One in person and then one virtual. Before I began this journey, I obtained my bachelor's degree in 2016. I went on to take the Air Force Officer Qualification Test in 2018. I did not actively apply until 2021. They're on magic, baby. Before I ran into the lieutenant colonel again, there was a office I was in and I reached out to who was the acting commander. It was at a center. See if she would be willing to host a non-EAD board, deserving airman board, which is how we enlisted members meet a board for vacant officer opportunities. I did a phone call from the chief of that area where I was at, who reminded me of chain of command and also shared with me his goals in wanting to commission and how it didn't work out for him, and how more often than not a base that you are not assigned at will not entertain your inquiry to commission or even meet their board. How ironic is it that both boards I met, I was not assigned to either, and I was afforded the opportunities. Just wanted to share that story and say, don't let anyone discourage you. Don't let one no or one ignored email or whatever the case may be hold you back from going after your goal and your dreams and such, okay? Because what is for you will be for you, but you do also have to do the works to get there. Let's get into these boards and some etiquette. In-person board that I met, I recall I saluted in, Sir, Sergeant Walls reports as ordered, or reports. For me, I wanted to stand out, so I learned who they were. So for example, I'm gonna say, Sir, Sergeant Walls reports to the 123 Hooray Squadron as ordered. Instead of just saying, Sir, Sergeant Walls reports as ordered, your interview begins as soon as you walk through the door. So they're gonna look at how you're marching. They're gonna look at how you report in. Imagine if they tell you, hey, just come in and say, Sir, Sergeant Walls reports as ordered. They were interviewing, let's say, 5 people. Out of the 5 people, 1 person had put a little spin to their reporting statement. Sir, Sergeant Walls reports to the 123 oh, let's do a squadron as ordered. I just inserted their squadron. Now that's gonna stick out, right? They're used to hearing the free reporting statement that they gave, but when they hear something different, oh, now let me pay attention to what it is that this person has to say. Yeah, go ahead and take that as a little nugget. Secondly, I remember them telling me to sit at ease, like, oh, this is a comfortable setting, and I said, oh, I will not. I did not tell them I would not. I just said thank you, and I remained sitting at the seat of attention, and I'll show you what that is if you are not used to it. Let me pull up my pants here. If you aren't used to that, or you're a non-prior service member of sorts, so sitting at attention is to have your legs together, hands on your knees, and you're sitting upright. Really good posture, right? Straight back, strong, broad shoulders, confident. And so your hands are on your lap and you're sitting here and you're not moving. You're talking to everyone, you're moving around and you're looking and you're acknowledging, but this body language right here, baby, does not change. Okay. I already have a video on questions and answers, but I will share when someone posed a question to me, I would say thank you, sir, ma'am, or if I was present enough, like calm enough to think about it, I would do rank and last name. For example, I would say, thank you for that question, Captain Snuffy. Again, how are you going to stand out? If they've interviewed, earlier I said 5 people, imagine them interviewing 30 plus people. How are you going to stand out of the 30? How are you going to stand out of the 5? Imagine if there are just 2 of you. How are you going to stand out from that other person, because there's only one position for them to fill? A little way that you can stand out, go after it. I would also add that to formulate some questions that you want to ask the panel members at the end. There was an opportunity for me to ask both the in-person and the virtual panel members some questions. I received more in-depth answers from the virtual panel, but again, there were only 3 on my virtual panel opposed to the 6 to 8 in the in-person panel. And if you want to look at some potential questions that you may be asked, because they're pretty common in a sense, or the questions that I reviewed, which were 18 questions in preparation for these commissioning boards, I have a video for that, and I'll put the link either in the description or I'll put it up top. And actually in that board, one of the questions I studied, they asked. Neat thing is I had that answer formulated, but it kind of all went out the window. And as I was talking, I remember like, oh wait, I do know this. I've already studied this. And as I was talking, I began to share what I had already written down previously, all within a few seconds. So it's interesting how the brain works. In addition to sitting at attention, the importance of confidence. I also saw this in some videos as I was researching how to prepare. And confidence was a really common factor to have. Say you may be more of an introvert, or you may be more of a timid person, just like to be behind the scenes and as such. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to meeting the board, because you are interviewing for a leadership position, you can still be that introvert, or even someone who prefers to be behind the scenes or maybe shy, but you're a leader within, and so that leader within has to come out. And a characteristic of a leader is strength, it's courage, it's confidence, in a way to not just articulate confidence or those characteristics, but to show it, exude those characteristics. Again, would be the sitting upright. It's in the enunciation of your words. It's in the eye contact that you're making. Allow your personality to come through. As you can see, as I'm talking to you, I may smile a bit while I'm talking. I did this during my interview. I didn't hold myself back. I didn't hold in my quirkiness or even my goofy side. I may have laughed, or a way that I answered a question allowed me to giggle a little bit. But I also was able to, just as you see now, get into more of a very straightforward, serious, I'm about my business approach, depending on the question. So if the question allowed me to be more like this, then I was. And if it was a question that required me to be more business, then I would also be a business. No hand movements. I'm doing this only because of this video. Easier said than done, right? I'll say don't be nervous, but it's okay. Nervousness just means you're alive. It means that there's still something humble about you. Before I met these commissioning boards, I would interview for some active guard reserve positions, and one of the ladies posed whatever question it was, and I'm thinking, if you read my resume, then you know. And don't assume that whatever you put in your packet, if the board members have read. You have to consider a number of people meeting these boards, and don't leave any information out. Before know that where you're supposed to be and where you're meant to be, you will be. And what looks like a slap in the face or a closed door is truly direction. It could be protection as well. And it's a way, if you're a believer, of God ordering your footsteps for you, and know that all things are going to work together for your good. Again, don't be discouraged if you get a few no's. That's okay. Seek to figure out why you received that no, make adjustments where you need to, and then get right back after it. Also ask, share with those who are of higher levels than you what those goals are that you have, because they receive the information about the opportunities and trickle it down. However, sometimes we're busy and that email may get overlooked by a hot item, a hot tasker that is due. But if you share that officer goal that you have, or that aspiration that you have, when they see that email about a deserving airman board taking place, or now it's called the non-EAD board or program, they're going to think, hey, Airman so-and-so told me. Although they see this hot tasker, they can simply push that email, hit forward, send it to you, and then move on to that tasker. But you have to plant that seed of what your goals are so that those around you can assist, and don't turn away from anyone who would like to assist in your progression in your career. I would say the same thing on the civilian side. If you're not seeing any growth or opportunities where you are, never be afraid to venture out. It may seem rough, but preparation will get you where you need to be. Be yourself, be genuine, allow your personality and who you are to show in those boards. Truly practice. Watch the video that I'll have either in the description or linked up here about meeting a commissioning board. It's not mine, so I don't want to take any credit for it. It's just something I found on YouTube. Look at some of my other videos, as it will relate to the packaging process, how long it took my package to go through from beginning to end. However, I'm an anomaly, and so I will talk a little bit about that in those videos. I have a video again about the questions, the 18 questions that I reviewed, but I will have some additional content. I will have in here, right after I say all of this, a photo of the scorecard that the board I met in person referenced. It at least will give you some insight on what it is that a board member may be evaluating you on. To consider is when you're meeting the board, they may ask you what Air Force specialty code is it that you're aiming for or to receive. There's nothing wrong with you having your desired AFSCs, but also be open-minded and willing to serve in whichever capacity to fulfill the needs of the Air Force at that time. Don't go stealing that answer, okay? Do not go stealing that answer. Additionally, some bases may allow for you to decline, and there may be a waiting period. Just look into that. Really think about all of the work that you put in before denying. But if life doesn't allow, then see if there's a way for you to interview at a future opportunity. Some bases, it appears, will hold their commissioning boards either the beginning of the fiscal year. The fiscal year begins 1 October of every calendar year, which begins on 1 January. And our commissioning boards commence the first quarter or even the second quarter of the fiscal year. So the first quarter of the fiscal year is October through December, and the second quarter is January through March. So make sure you're working with your Force Support Squadrons, your FSS, to learn of any commissioning opportunities. share with individuals your interest to commission, because word of mouth gets you places. Prepare in advance. If you know there's a board coming up, go ahead and peruse through the checklist that I intend on presenting and get your package together. By that way, when an opportunity comes up, you won't have to scramble too much. You may just have to update your fitness report or get an up-to-date reference letter of some sort, or update your personal statement, but you won't have to create a full package, okay? In everything that you're doing, I wish you well. I'm hoping that in the comments you all will share about your recent commissioning opportunities or even the interviews that you had, okay? Take care.